Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of She Rises, Amplify, and Thrive live speaker series. I am your host, Kelly Boyer, and I'm also founder of She Rises and the She Rises Foundation. And I'm also a mentor for women through my Clarity Method. And I am super excited to have all of you here. The heart of She Rises is so very simple. It is created to just help women rise into their feminine leadership, trust their intuition, and create meaningful change, not only within their own lives, but within the communities that they serve. And I think that sounds amazing. So, thank you to everyone that is here. And, we have these conversations as a space for awakening where we can just bring voices that remind us of what is possible when we all support each other and just lead from that heart space. And today's guest, Jackie Woodside, does just that. She is a best-selling author. She is a TEDx speaker. She is a coach. She is the producer of Money Vibe, which features the top thought leaders. It is so cool to have her here. And today we're going to talk about Elevate Your Money Vibe, which could not be any more in coherence with She Rises. So everyone settle in, open up your heart, get ready, and we're going to dive right in. Jackie, I'm so excited to have you here. And I do love that we're going to be talking about money vibes today.
Yeah, thank you. I love that topic as well, given that I've written a book about it and now I've produced a movie around it. So yeah, I love helping people understand that money doesn't have to be something that we fear or something that we stress over or even something that we hate. That money is an energy, it's a vibration, it's a frequency. So yeah, I look forward to really enjoying an in-depth conversation with you and your audience about that today.
Yes, and you know what? And I love that you said that money isn't something that we hate because, you know, that label is put on it as money being the root of all evil. I don't believe that at all.
I don't either. It's a neutral, it is a neutral force. It's an energy. It's our relationship with money that makes it good or evil or neutral. Yeah, I don't believe that either. It's
Yeah.
craving, it's making money a god, it's giving money your power, it's letting money control you rather than you controlling how you use money. That is probably the root of all evil.
I love that. And so, okay, because I have a lot of things that I want to talk to you about today
All right,
about
let's
this.
go. Let's go.
But I love, let's go back to what you had just said, that it's really about money not controlling you, and it sound like what you're meaning is the intent on how we use that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think oftentimes people do feel like they're ruled by money.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mean how people use it. I more mean people's relationship to it. I mean, yes, I think people's relationship to it is a priori. It's like that's what's more foundational. And then from there, how people use it. But really, what I mean is people's relationship to money. How do you think about money? How do you feel about money? I've worked with literally multimillionaire and billionaire business owners as a coach and as a trainer, and they worried about money. And I've worked with people who are literally dirt poor, living in, Tyvek shacks in Guatemala. I did some humanitarian service work in Guatemala, and these people were literally dirt poor, community kitchen, not homeless, but living in like shacks, Tyvek covered shacks. And, were completely happy and said that, it was one woman, she was in probably her late 30s, had 3 or 4 kids, and had just lost her husband. Absolute abject poverty, and said, I don't worry about where things are going to come from. I don't worry about money because I know that God has always provided. God will provide. And that was so instructive for me, particularly as someone who has worked with multimillionaires and billionaires who do worry about money. Do I have enough? Am I going to have enough? Am I going to be able to keep my business afloat at this level? Am I going to take care of the people that work for me? Am I going to keep growing my net worth? Kind of their thoughts kind of obsessed with money. So one of the ways that I define financial freedom is never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not. never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not. So it's, to me, freedom is knowing that I can be in life and focus on things in life where I want to be in focus. I can feel a sense of security and safety and happiness and fulfillment regardless of my financial condition. My definition of financial freedom, never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not.
Love that.
So worrying about money is a state of consciousness that, honestly, I think it's something like 75% of people in our country today are economically stressed, are worried about money. Look, I've been rich, I've been poor. It's been way more fun to have money than to not have money. Absolutely. I know the feeling of both. So when I say I've been poor, I literally was homeless for a time. I was, absolutely flat broke at the end of graduate school, was in a very difficult domestic violence relationship and needed to get myself out of it. I was a hot mess at that time in my life. And so for a time, I was couch surfing, living on, people's couches and kind of sorting things out. But I was homeless for a time. I was put myself through college, playing basketball on a scholarship and working 3 jobs to pay for all of the other things that my scholarship didn't cover. So I know what it's like to just get by and to scrape and to really, really struggle with money. I've had that experience. Graduate school, put myself through graduate school, working awake overnight shifts at a residential care facility for people who were deaf, blind, and cognitively impaired. So I was up all night taking care of these people, and then all day going to school, doing my internship. I mean, look, I'll be straight up. It was hell. It was not a fun couple of years. I mean, graduate school was fun. It was stimulating. I made great friends who are still friends today. But that stress of making ends meet. I went to Boston College for graduate school, and one of the great things about Boston is there's a lot of great hospitals. And the hospitals always need research participants for their research. So I would scour the Boston newspapers and find paid research laboratory opportunities. And I would go into the Boston area hospitals, let them literally, use my body as a lab rat. And I would make $200 or $300 for just an afternoon. So those were the kinds of things that I was doing when, back in the day, as before I'd started this journey of understanding that your money vibe. I'll talk a little bit more about what that is, but back then, my money vibe, my consciousness about money, my vibration, my vibrational field of belief about money was struggle and strife, pressure and worry. And when I was in that energy, that's what I would create, is more opportunities to struggle. So I'll pause there just to let you dive in. But that's a little bit about, this notion of money and how it's not necessarily to me how you use your money, but how you relate, the relationship you have with money.
Yes, I love that you're talking about the relationship that you have with money. And a lot of time, and like a lot of times when I think of relationships, I oftentimes do equate it to expansion and growth and healing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm still in the process of redefining my relationship with money
Yeah.
because I'm all like you, I'm all just like you through undergrad and graduate school and everything, really trying to learn how to make ends meet. And I want to, and just I'm just kind of sharing from me, but like that's been one of the hardest relationships for me to work through. And
It is for, it is for most people, I think, because
yeah.
we equate money with survival.
Yes.
We equate money with survival at the more basic level. And then if you've gotten beyond survival level, so like I clearly was at the survival level when I was homeless and just barely putting myself through school. Sounds like you were a little bit in that place. So but once you get out of survival level, the next reason that we have a difficult relationship with money is once we're no longer associating it with survival, we associate it with self-esteem and self-worth. Money is very central. Money is the new rich, or being rich is like the new status symbol. I mean, look at all the stuff that's on YouTube and the TV shows, and everybody. That's the thing. Everybody wants to be rich and famous. So when you see yourself at whatever level of financial, income that you have. It's this really tough. I have a 20-year-old son, and he's into all the rap music videos, and they glorify money. So there's these videos of, these guys shuffling off the $100 bills and flowing them all around them. And kids see that and they're like, well, I'm just going to be an influencer. I don't need to have a career. I don't need to have a job, like anybody can just go and do that. So I think we have a very skewed and difficult relationship with money because it either represents for us survival and when we're, really kind of struggling financially, or as we get beyond that, it represents a sense of self-worth, self-esteem, and how much value we feel that we have and bring.
Hmm. Yeah, value. I think that's the main thing there, right? It's because we do allow money to oftentimes define what our value is, and our value is so much more than, I'm going to say the amount that you have in your bank account.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I agree with you. I think it is very skewed because when we start determining our value is based on the amount that we have in our bank account, then I feel like we're really missing something on a very conscious level. Or,
yeah.
so yeah, I do agree with that. So while we're on this topic, it sounds like w let's talk more about what people don't really understand about money and how it relates to life.
Yeah, sure. So let's just go back to this notion of money vibe. Like, what is a money vibe? Because this is one of the things that people don't understand about money, quite honestly. So when I was earlier, when I was talking about having a relationship with money, I just want to broaden that a little bit and help people understand that you have a relationship with everything. You have a relationship with fitness. For those of you that are fitness buffs, if I say like, oh, let's talk about your fitness and going to the gym. Those of you who are fitness buffs, your energy raises and you're like, yes, I'm on that. And for those of you that are couch potatoes wishing that you were fitness buffs, it's like, oh, I don't, ooh, like the guilt, the shame, the should, all of those feelings emerge. So that's, fitness. You have a relationship with your marriage. I don't mean a relationship with your spouse. You have a relationship with your relationship, and when you think about your relationship, your marriage, whatever, you have a certain vibration about it. For me, I'm the happiest married person that I know. So my vibration about marriage is very, very high. Somebody who's struggling in their relationship and their marriage probably going to have a little bit lower money vibe about it. So I define your money vibe by the accumulation of your beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts. Your inner world of belief, emotion, attitudes, and thoughts creates a vibratory pattern that you live in. It is your money vibe. And Kelly, if you notice those four letters, beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts, it's an acronym that
Mhm.
spells BEAT.
Oh,
BEAT
yeah.
creates your vibe that creates your life. Your beat is your inner world of consciousness. So I'm actually not just spouting some hairy-fairy new age concept. This is grounded in science. The way that you think creates an electromagnetic field around you that other people can feel. So just to make this concrete, and this can be measured by an electroencephalogram or an electromagnetogram, you can literally measure the magnetic energy of your thoughts. And if we show you, beautiful images of a young child holding a puppy or a couple holding hands walking on the beach or a sunset over the mountains, your energy, your thought energy is very placid. If we show you images of destruction and fear and danger, it changes your energetic field. So you have a vibratory pattern around you of thought and emotion that other people can feel. To make this concrete, I'm sure somewhere you've had the experience of walking into a conference room or walking into somebody's office or maybe walking into the living room and there's a couple of people in there having a tense moment.
Hmm.
And even if they're not saying anything, you walk in and you're like, something's going on here. Not sure, but there's a vibe. I can feel the vibe. Or when you meet somebody for the first time at a conference or at a party or something, and some people like you meet them and like you talk, and an hour goes by or 2 hours go by, and you're like, man, I don't know what it is about her. I just really like her vibe. And then you come to find out that you have similar beliefs, similar emotions, similar attitudes, similar perceptions about life. You have a resonant energy with one another. And then you meet somebody else and it's like really awkward and it's stiff and you don't know what to say. Like if you ever had that, it's like so weird. You meet this person and you could talk all day. You meet this person and there's like literally your head goes blank. You have nothing to say. You're maybe a little bit uncomfortable around them. You're like, I don't like his vibe. That's
I'm
what I'm
like, I
talking,
100% relate to all of,
right? We've
to all of
all
that.
had those
Yes.
experiences, right?
Yes.
So you have that vibratory pattern with money. So I have a very simple way that I help people understand what their money vibe is. I'm sure people are listening to me like, yeah, that makes sense. I've had that. I've had that experience, but then mapping it onto money maybe is a little bit more abstract. So let's make it concrete. I ask three simple questions that help people understand very quickly what their money vibe is. And the first one is, what do you most often think in terms of money? What thoughts do you most often have in terms of money? And, I've asked this question of thousands and thousands of people, and it's often things like, am I going to have enough? I worry about money. Am I making good decisions with my money? And often it just boils down to, I'm worried I'm not going to have enough. I'm stressed about money. I think that I'm not going to be able to retire. I think I'm not going to have money to leave to my kids. I think I'm not going to make it to the end of the month, right? So those are thoughts. Second question is, how do you most often feel when it comes to money? Now, thoughts and feelings are not the same thing, although they're often correlated. Feelings are things like, I feel stressed, I feel worried, I feel anxious, I feel upset, I feel frustrated. Those are feelings, versus those would be low vibration emotions around money. Scarcity, worry, fear, stress, anxiety, those are low vibe money. That's a low money vibe. Versus, I love money. I get excited thinking about my financial future. I'm excited knowing that I can be the creative agent when it comes to my money. I love playing with the game of money just to see how things turn out. So, those are some of the things that you can also feel about money. That's considered a high vibration. I love money and money loves me, right? So the third, so what do you most often think? How do you most often feel? And then the third one is more concrete. What do you most often say about money? When you're talking about money, what do you say to your spouse, your friends, to other people? Not what's in your head, but what do you actually say? So when you write down the answers to those three questions, you'll likely see a pattern. If you have mostly scarcity, negative, low vibe thoughts, you will likely have scarcity, negative, low vibe feelings, and you will likely say concerning, upsetting, negative things. Or you have like I loving thoughts and loving emotions about money and enthusiasm about money, and you say positive things. That's a high money vibe. So it makes it very concrete for people to have a sense. And again, the world we're living in, that capitalism is our religion and money is our God. Most people have a very precarious at best relationship with money. So the most people, even if they're wealthy, most people have a relatively low money vibe. And then that impacts how you experience money and how you create money.
Mhm. So I do have a question about your three questions. Have you ever found contradiction in that where people are like, they're like, maybe their thoughts are, oh, I can't wait to have money. I love money. And then if we go down to what we say about money, and let's say they're getting ready to spend it and they're like, well, I don't really have enough for that. I don't think that I can afford that. Is that, do you ever find incongruencies in that?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point. So I'll give people a phrase if they feel like they have a high money vibe, but also don't have the money to spend for something. I encourage people to use language like, I'm not choosing to spend my money that way.
Oh, I love that.
I'm not choosing to spend my money that way rather than I can't afford it. I don't have the money for that. Because, you probably do have maybe money in assets, money in retirement, money in your real estate. You probably have money in various places, but maybe you don't have the cash in your bank account to do that thing, right? So,
Yeah.
so instead of I can't afford that, I encourage people to say, I'm not choosing to spend my money that way. It locates your sense of authority and power back with yourself. So you become the creator rather than the victim. I can't afford that. A little bit has you, just being
Mhm.
the victim of money. That's the last thing you want to be. You want to create a really like like a loving friendship with money that you're excited about and that you feel good about and that you really want to pursue, and spend time with, understand more. So I encourage people to use that language of like, yeah, I'm just not choosing to use my money that way right now.
Well, even when you said it, I actually felt the
Yeah.
vibration in my body shift
Shift. Yeah.
to to something more positive than that.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because I can't, right? That's a low
Mhm.
vibration feeling and statement. I can't do that versus I'm choosing not to. It
Yes.
puts the sense of, it locates the sense of power and agency back over
Mhm.
here with the self. So it's
Yeah.
moving from victim to victor.
Yeah, I love that. So thank you for that tool
Yeah,
to
yeah. I'm just, I
use. Yeah.
encourage people to use that. I'm not choosing. Now, look, it's a little weird because people don't say that. So it's a little bit socially awkward. So, the first few times you say it, you can even be like, yeah, it's just not something that I'm choosing to spend my money on right now. Isn't that cool? That I'm so conscious about it, that I'm so clear about it, because it's not the way, it's more socially acceptable to say, I can't afford it. And
Mhm.
honestly, in some ways, people get some juice out of, like the sympathy of like, oh, you poor thing, you can't afford it, and that can become, reinforcing itself to feel like you're getting that input from people of like, oh, so sad you can't afford it, versus, yeah, I'm just not choosing to spend my money that way.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, I've been guilty on numerous times of being like, well, no, I can't do that right now. I can't afford that. But I'm gonna
Well,
tell you,
let me ask you, what's the vibe of that, Kelly? How does that feel when you say that?
well, it doesn't feel good because I actually, as I start to say that, I have caught myself saying that because I don't want to be in that low vibe because it's it's interesting. So I guess I'm totally using myself as a case study
Yeah,
because
go
this is
ahead,
so
but get some free
fascinating.
coaching while we're doing the show.
Yeah, and I really do believe that I'm gonna guess that other people experience this as well. So I don't know. So to go back to
Go
your
ahead.
question, how does that make me feel? I mean, it doesn't make me feel good at all. Like I could be, let's say I could be very happy and then something happens and I'm like, "Oh no, I can't afford that." I go from happiness to like into that victimhood state. And then what happens for me is I start to like have this argument or conflict in my head because I'm like, no, I know that it's not a matter of I can't afford it. Maybe like so I know I'm not going to use the right language right now, but maybe that's not what's in my bank account to do right now. But I also start to think, but and I always catch myself because I'm like, well, this is a mindset thing. So um yeah, it's kind of like I have this that goes on in
Yeah.
my head.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What I'm suggesting is that you use empowerment language.
Mhm.
Even like, oh, I'm not choosing to use my money that way right now, and that's for me, and that's for me. Just as an example for my life, I'm building a house up at our summer home. We have two summer homes in the Thousand Islands of upstate New York, on the St. Lawrence River. It's a beautiful body of water, and you can see behind me, I live on water here in New York as well. So my spouse and I have three waterfront homes. And we're tearing down one of the cottages to build a year-round home. So we've wanted to do that, gosh, for probably 10 years. And I mean, building a house is a big financial commitment, it required a huge financial outlay. But for the 10 years that we wanted to do it and that we planned to do it, we never said, we can't afford it. We don't have the money for it. We just kept saying the right time will come. We're not choosing to use our money that way right now. And we were raising our child, he went to private school. Our money was going other places,
Mhm.
and our son's 20 now. So we're choosing to make this investment in ourselves and in our house. So it's not that you couldn't do it, it's just you weren't making that choice right then. And it's for me. So keeping that affirmation of, whether it's the new car or the new house, or you want to move to a new apartment or, take a trip, whatever, I'm not choosing to spend my money that way right now. And that is for me. So keeping that energy and vibration high, keeping that affirmation of knowing that your good is coming forth. It's just so exciting right now. My spouse and I every day are like, we really are like literally in this moment living the dream.
Oh, I love it.
We have dreamed about this for at least 10 years. if not longer. The other cottage that we own, we've owned for 18. And we probably started tossing it around then, thinking maybe we would tear that one down. And then we bought my other great aunt and uncle's cottage next door 4 years ago, and that really amped it up. We wanted, much more talking about making it happen. And here we are. The house has been, I ran the excavator to knock down the last wall of my aunt and uncle's cottage. So we tore that down. We have the foundation built, and we've hired Amish builders to build the
Oh,
house. There's upstate New York, Thousand Islands region. There's a huge Amish population. I have many Amish friends, and I kept telling everybody, I don't want to just build a house. I want to create a story.
yes.
So having Amish builders be part of it's a big part of the story. So and so all of those years that I wasn't choosing to spend my money that way, I never said I can't afford that because I didn't want to prescribe that future for myself.
Yeah.
Future I prescribed for myself was I'm not choosing to use my money that way, and that's for me or that's for us. And here we are.
Yes. And I
Fulfilling.
love that you've created a story, like a very positive, uplifting story around it. Um, I think that what oftentimes happens is we've created, like, like you said, we fall into this victimhood and then we create this negative story. But I love that, to change the narrative of what, here's money, here's your relationship with it, and now here's your beautiful story that goes along with it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I really believe, Kelly, that if my relationship with money over the years has been, I can't afford that. Oh, isn't that a drag? Look at those people. They get to build a new house. Oh, look at, I wish I had the money to do those things. And I had that kind of negative victim consciousness vibe about money over the years. I really think it wouldn't have happened because like attracts like on the energetic plane. And
Mhm.
keeping being mindful of my money vibe, being mindful of how I talk about money and how I mold my inner world of emotion about money, and about everything else. Like maintain use I have a teaching element, use your mind to train your brain. So I clearly had to rewire my neurology from scarcity and poverty into belief, faith, and abundance. I had to rewire my brain. My mom was widowed when I was 2 years old. She was left with a high school education and three kids to raise. So the environment that I was raised in was very much like, it's going to be tough, but we're going to it was a just getting by kind of environment, not one of like, ease and simplicity and abundance at by any means. So I had totally internalized that sense of, struggle and strife with money. And, as evidenced by my young adult life of, being homeless, being flat broke, having to work awake overnights to put myself through graduate school, choosing to go to social work school. So, when I graduated, I didn't exactly end up with the most high paying career that I could have gone into, being a clinical social worker. But over the years in molding my consciousness, starting to understand prosperity principles, understand consciousness work and what consciousness is and how it impacts your life. Consciousness being that inner world of belief, emotion, attitudes, and thought, your vibratory pattern, and how that is the creative element of your life. The vibratory pattern that you live in is what creates the attractor pattern that you end up in. I like to think about life as an energetic matrix, and where you plug in at that energetic matrix of life depends on the vibratory pattern that you live in. The more you live in a higher vibration, the easier, literally, the easier your life becomes. And I have story after story after story to evidence that. And the more you're a low vibration person, the more you attract more difficulty, more struggle, more strife.
Mhm. Yes. Okay. So I absolutely do agree with what you're saying, because I've experienced both. I've had it where I've been so low vibe, and it's just like, what I find myself going, oh, here's another thing, here's another thing, here's another thing. And I do believe that it does take work to take your mind to train your brain. I love that you say that. And then once I started changing that, I mean, besides us having money in our bank account, but other things started to come for me where, maybe I had a bill I didn't have to pay, and something happened where I didn't have to pay it.
Yeah.
So I know that it does come in other ways. So what are some ways or that you can suggest on how to honestly to elevate our vibe when it comes to money? We've talked about several ways, but um, I would love to discuss that some more.
Sure. Yeah, let's go into it a little bit more. So let's go back to the notion of use your mind to train your brain, okay? Because it's really very central to how do you raise your vibe.
Mhm.
You can't raise your vibration by having and have the same thoughts.
Right.
So one of the things that you have to be able to change is your inner world of thought, which I think is the hardest thing there is to do.
Mhm.
I was a clinician, a mental health clinician. As I said, I had a degree in clinical social work. And so I worked a lot with people in addictions. And one of the things that people who are finally committed to recovering from addictions are told to do is go to 90 12-step meetings in 90 days. Do 90 meetings in 90 days, whether it's Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, whatever, Sex Addicts Anonymous. There's an anonymous for everything. Right. But the teaching is go to 90 meetings in 90 days. Why is that? Well, an addict only thinks the way an addict thinks. You can only think the way that you know how to think. You don't know how to think differently. So
True.
going to 90 meetings in 90 days infuses your consciousness with thoughts of sobriety. It infuses your consciousness with different thoughts. And so 90 meetings in 90 days means that you are literally filling your consciousness with higher vibration thoughts rather than, oh, screw it, it's too hard. I'm going to go act out and continue to be an addict, which is, often the pattern. So maybe you're like, well, I'm not an addict. What does that have to do with me? What it has to do with you is everyone is addicted to something.
Mhm.
And the primary thing that I think people are addicted to is your own level of perception, the way that you see the world. You're addicted to being right about the way the world is. You're addicted to the way that you perceive things. You have to be right about it. And if somebody challenges the way that you're thinking about it, you will immediately dismiss them and be like, no, this is the way it is. So deal with your addiction to being right. Deal with your thought patterns, your habitual thought patterns around scarcity, around money. So use your mind to train your brain. Actually start separating that the brain is the organism, the organ that processes your thinking, but your mind is your connection with divine mind, higher mind. Like that we've got that little cartoon of the devil and the angel on your shoulder. You've got these two parts of you, one that's like, screw it, I just want to do what I want to do, and you go spend money that maybe is not responsible or not the highest and best. And another part of you is like, no, I'm got to be mindful. I'm not choosing to use my money that way right now. I know that this is for me, and I'm not choosing to use my money that way right now. So use your mind to train your brain means that you start, and I'm going to give you a method to do this.
Sure.
You start learning to pay attention to your inner world of thought, which is directly correlated to your inner world of emotion, and you elevate it, you change it. So Kelly, just going back to your example, like, that you would literally say, I can't afford that. And I said, well, how does that feel? And you're like, oh, it doesn't feel good. It has a low vibration to it. Of course it does. It's a statement of victimhood. Like something is being done to me. I can't afford that. So there's this method that I teach, use your mind to train your brain. I call the 3 C's method. And it's so ridiculously simple that you'll forget to use it. It's actually based in neuroscience. So the 3 C's that I want to teach you, the first C is you have to catch it. You have to see what's going on, what's coming out of my mouth, what is that thought in my head? Like, oh, I hate this. I never have enough money. Or one of mine used to be, I'm such a loser. And another one of mine was, I can never catch a break.
Mhm.
Those were things that I would literally say and feel all the time. It was a very strong part of my consciousness. And what do you imagine my life was like when that was a strong part of my consciousness? I would have significant difficulty in my outer world, in my inner world. I was depressed. I was in crappy relationships. I was homeless, right? So as I started realizing that maybe I'm the common denominator here and I had to change my thinking, I would catch that thought. I would see myself having it. So then the second C what you need to do immediately after. So you can't do any of this without self-awareness, without the ability to catch your own thinking. The second C is challenge it.
Oh, I love that.
Challenge it. You've got to be able to debunk your own thinking. So it's simply things like, is that true? Is
Mhm.
that going to give you the future that you want? Is that what you want to believe? Is that what you want to affirm? Does that feel good? Right? So you literally talk back to it. It's that angel and devil on your shoulder again. It's your higher mind, your wisdom mind, talking back to the patterns of neurons firing, your habitual thought patterns. And by the way, your thought patterns are habitual.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of good neuroscience around that. So you have habitual thought patterns about money, and this process, these three C's, will interrupt them. So the first C is you catch it. Second C is you challenge it. Does that feel good? Is that the future you want to create? Is that the best thing you can think? Is that even true? Right? So you start challenging your own thinking. And then the third C, after you've really seen, like, oh my God, I'm like so sick of myself. I'm so sick of these thoughts. I'm so sick of, I've been thinking this since I was 10 years old. Can I do better than that? Right. So you kind of get sick of it when you challenge your own thinking. So the third C is you change it. Rather than I can't afford it, you can start saying, like, hey, that's for me. And I'm just not using my money that way right now. Instead of saying, I'm such a loser, and be like, I'm doing the best I can according to my current and evolving capacity. Instead of I never catch a break, I start telling myself, good things are always coming my way. And then I start noticing good things that come my way. And you know what happens when you notice good things that come your way? More good things come your way. So that is one of the methods that I teach for raising your vibration. I have a whole bunch of other ones that we can go into. So I'll pause there and see what direction you want to go in with this.
No, I think that's amazing, and I love how simple and honestly how practical it is.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it's based in neuroscience. Dr.
yeah.
Jeffrey Schwartz has a process very similar to that. I actually wrote mine and have been teaching it, and then I read his book, and he teaches the 5 R's, and he uses it for the treatment of obsessive compulsive disorder, helping people rework their inner world of thought. And I thought 5 was too many. I kind of liked mine better. It was only 3, but he's a scientist. He needed to have more than that.
No, I it's like and you're right. I've always said this when I've had people like come to me and I said, well, the first thing of this battle is just having it come into your awareness.
Yeah.
So kudos to you to realize that this is something that you need. And then I think, in all honesty, of course, changing it can bring a lot of fear, but challenging it. And I'm bringing this up because I'm like, I know that you're gonna know how to help this, but so you catch it and then you go to challenge it, but there might be that fear because if you challenge it, maybe it's something that you don't want to hear. Does that make sense? So the example is, I know this. I'm all work with me because because I'm going to tell you I've experienced this where it comes into my awareness,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, is this, like you said, is this true? And it's not that I get like a yes, this is true. Well, I'm going to back up because sometimes what I get is yes, this is true because this is the way you think.
Right. So I mean,
Does that make
objectively
sense?
true. And sometimes I'll follow it up with, if you were to go out onto the highway and stop 100 random people and ask them that question, would you get an objective yes, 100%? Like my thought, you're such a loser, or you never catch a
Yes.
break. Like, is that true? Well, I don't know. Like, if I asked 100 of my friends, they would probably not agree with it. Maybe a handful of them think I'm a loser, but for the most part, right?
Yeah.
I never catch a break. If I said that to 100 of my friends, oh my gosh, they would slap me silly because I have an amazing life, right? Even back then, even when that was a habitual thought of mine. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I mean. And if fear arises, I would do the same thing with that. Does that emotion serve you?
Perfect.
Does that emotion serve you? Oh, there's a fear. See, here's the thing. In order to practice this, because you can use the same 3 C's with emotion as well.
Mhm.
So what you have to be able and willing to do to use this method is you have to be able to recognize that your thoughts and feelings are not the truth. They're not. I'm not saying they're bad, wrong, or invalid. They're just not a capital T truth. I was just having a coaching call, executive coaching with, a high level executive of a company who didn't want to share a writing exercise with me that I had assigned to her, and we went over it verbally and kind of talked about her writing. And I was like, it would really help me if I could just have this and look it over and read it, and then I'll deepen the questions in our process together. Oh, no, no, I can't let you see that.
Huh.
I was like, why not? Well, because, you're paid by my company, and if they ever wanted to see your documents, I don't want them to see this. I was like, okay, okay, you recognize that's a thought, right? Yeah, 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 that's a thought. Okay, and what's the emotion underneath that thought? Well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that they're okay, got it. And is that true? Well, you might give it to them. I was like, okay, well, I'm not in 33 years of being a coach. I've never once had a company ask me to see my records. Never once in 33 years. Doesn't mean it can never happen. So, maybe not, is it true or not true? Is it rational? I said, is that a rational thought? She said, it feels rational to me. I said, yes, it feels rational based on what? She said, based on my fear. Right. So is a thought based on fear rational? And she laughed and said, no, it's irrational.
Mhm.
So no matter if it's a thought or an emotion, what you have to deal with is it's not true.
Yes.
So, and people get, everybody are like, oh, yeah, yeah, that's really good. And then, in the next minute, you are going to say something that is a subjective thought or feeling and say it like it's a capital T truth.
Mhm.
We relate to our inner world of thought and emotion like it is a capital T objective truth, and it is not. And that is where a lot of people struggle with money.
Yeah.
Fear, sense of self, self-worth. It's not objectively true that you can't, you can't do better, or you can't grow, or you're not one of the lucky ones, or you can't catch a break. None of that is objectively true.
I love it. Thank you so much for elaborating on that on that part because like I said, I could see a lot of people do like, I'm gonna say I'm guilty and I'm like, ooh, and I get scared, but you're absolutely right. I love that. And even I'm gonna say even with I'm another like the education and the training that I have, it's like I still have slipping still have slipped back into that. And you're right. I do recognize well, this is so irrational the way that I'm thinking
Yeah.
because
Well, Kelly,
it's
you're
like,
always going to slip back into it because it's the human condition.
mhm.
I mean, I don't know, maybe someone who's enlightened, Buddha or Christ or Mother Teresa or, the hugging guru, Amma, like I don't know, maybe they don't slip back into it. But the human condition is one that is rooted in fear. Your brain has something called the negativity bias
Mhm.
that is designed to say, watch out, be careful. It's designed to keep you alive. So your brain is designed to keep you alive, not for you to thrive. Psychologically, you have something called the ego that serves the exact same function. Be careful, don't do that again. I'll never do that again. What will they think of you? All of those inner thoughts of smallness and insecurity are rooted in the psychological mechanism called the ego that is also designed for your safety. So of course I teach this stuff, 7 days a week, 365. I teach this stuff to people. I still have to deal with my own inner world of emotion, attitudes, and thoughts. And it just doesn't bother me. So when I when I
Mhm.
have those low vibration thoughts and feelings now, I laugh. I'm like, can't you do any better than that? You've been thinking that since you were 10 years old. I get a little bit snarky with my own insecurities and my inner world. And I've recently come upon this kind of new thought that I'm really enjoying. The best thing about being a person of faith, which I am, and I don't mean that in a religious sense, but I believe that life unfolds for a higher good. I believe we're consciously evolving as a species. I believe that the more conscious we are, the easier life becomes. So being a person of faith, a person who has clear, positive beliefs in something, you never have to worry.
Mhm.
Like you're either going to have faith or fear. You're going to have faith that your financial life is unfolding for a higher good, or you're going to have fear that something bad's going to happen.
Mhm.
You decide. And it really is that concrete.
I I love it. Thank you so much. I think that that is very helpful for I'm going to say not only the people that are on today, but the people that will be watching later on the replay. Um, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I do want to talk, I shift gears a little bit because you have a film and a book. And I
I
would love,
do.
yes, I would love for you to talk about that because any way that people can connect with you and just really, really just, I'm gonna learn from you, I feel is very important. So I would love for you to share about your filming.
Yeah, so I have a film coming out. So first of all, I wrote the book called Money Vibe. Oh gosh, probably about 6, 7 years ago. It's called Money Vibe, Your Financial Freedom Formula, whether you have money or not. And it's all about the stuff that we've been talking about today. And then just this year, I'm actually doing my first pre-release screening this weekend of a film called Your Money Vibes with an S, Your Money Vibes. And that is a full feature documentary film with myself and Michael Beckwith and Bruce Lipton and Joe Vitale and Coot Blackson and Sister Jenna, Marie Diamond, Marissa Peer, and a handful of other wonderful, wonderful teachers that I've been working on for the last 2 years. This was not a project for the faint of heart. And the website for that is yourmoneyvibes.com. My website is jackiewoodside.com. And I also have a number of courses on money, Money Vibe, Mastering the Millionaire Mind, 30-Day Money Vibe Challenge, all kinds of courses that will help people put this very practical work into their lives. But the movie that's coming out, I encourage people to sign up to get the release dates, because this weekend is really a pre-release. I'm doing it with a church that I've spoken at many times, but it will be coming out over the next couple of months. And it's a deep, deep dive by a number of different thinkers into how to alter your inner world in relationship with money, which therefore alters your outer world in relationship with money. And all of my courses around money are geared toward that. I don't teach finance. I teach consciousness, and it's your consciousness with money that's the creative element of your financial life.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, I'll share those websites one more time with everyone so we can make sure that they get it.
Oh, sure, sure. So to find my stuff, it's jackiewoodside.com. And then the film stuff, to sign up to get the release information for the film, it's yourmoneyvibes.com. So
Perfect.
thank you for asking for that again. Appreciate it.
Yes, and that will be in your speaker center. So when people come to connect with you, they will see that in there. I just wanted to make sure that you said it here and we get it in there, because we definitely want people to be able to connect and to receive. uh, Honestly, to me, these are beautiful gifts that you give because a lot of people have so many questions about this, and I've
Yeah,
seen so much struggle.
yeah.
Even with some of the clients that I work with. So I love this, and I'm like, I'm gonna be sending you people.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
do. Please
because it's
do.
it's just, I'm like you figured it out and now you're helping everyone.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for
Kelly,
all
I have figured it out, and thank you for that acknowledgement. But what I want to say about that is what I figured out is a high level of managing myself. Because it is, what we're talking about is your inner world of belief, emotion, attitude, and thought. Your inner world is the creative element. And my inner world was a hot mess. I was depressed. I was in a domestic violence relationship. I was flat broke. I was homeless. I was on all kinds of psychiatric medications. So to me, and yes, now I have money and I have 3 waterfront homes and a lovely marriage. But that transition, why I was able to do that, there's nothing special about me. The one thing I learned was how to master my inner world of belief, emotion, attitude, and thought, which then changes how you behave, right? And when you change your behaviors, you get different outcomes. When you change your thoughts and emotions, you attract different opportunities and people into your life. Since my son was 2 years old, I've been telling him the most important thing you'll ever learn is how to manage your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And it is the golden key.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely. And um I think the acknowledgement is that it's always an ongoing process. It doesn't mean that you
Yeah,
manage yourself and that's it. Because
yeah,
like we were talking about, we have that, and we have that. And we're human beings, so we slip back into that.
yeah,
So it's that constant inner awareness. Where am I at? Taking that temperature, and really, I think. just really being honest with yourself, because that's what I'm hearing from you is you've really sat there and you're very honest. Where am I? Is this true? Where, is this rational, what I'm thinking, right? And
Right.
where, and where is it that, like, that I'm gonna say that I know I can be, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. Having role models of people who've gone through this journey, that's why I made the film, really. So
Mhm.
people could, because Joe Vitale, his story is very similar, flat broke and suicidal and super depressed and, was really able to make it. Michael Beckwith had been arrested and, was, close to going to prison and turned his life around. It's just really great to hear from so many people who have, if you will, figured it out and are teaching it to other people all in one place. I was just really inspired to not just share my story, but to share the stories and the teaching of so many extraordinary people, and really have loved that project. But, if you want a better relationship with money, create a better relationship with yourself.
I, I'm like, that's the nugget, right? Absolutely. Oh, that is, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed what we've talked about so far. I do want to open it up to our audience. Does anybody who is with us today have any questions for Jackie? Any comments, anything that they would like to share? If you do, you can either put your hand up, you can come off mute, or if you prefer to put it in chat, I'm more than happy to read it out and to share
Yeah,
it.
love to hear from people. Custer, Laura, Diane squared. Would be lovely to know if you've got anything to
Yeah.
say. Take yourselves off mute. No, guess. Oh, there we go. Hi, Diane.
Hi, how are you?
I'm happy.
Awesome. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you in person and via Zoom.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you so much. And I've been struggling on and off, for, most of my life, all of my life regarding having and not having the money and not having as much as I'd like to. And so I wanted to get a sense about when we start working on, earning enough money. Are there specific, I got the questions part, but the amount of money that we want, or does that just change once you've shifted your mindset?
Hmm. I don't know exactly what you mean. Like, is it okay to want to have, golden toilets and $1 billion? Is that what you?
Something like that. Like if I say like, so my goal is I said, oh, if I had a $500,000, that would really change my life. So by the end
Yeah,
of the month, if I have $10,000, I'll be able to pay off some bills, basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it,
So,
yeah.
no, I hear you. What I teach about that is that have your intention and your focus be on an amount of money that is within your realm of believability.
Mm.
So if I'm just going to assume $1 billion for you, like it's not that you're not a vibrational match for $1 billion. I'm just going to assume that based on what you said. I'm not a vibrational match for $1 billion. So like if I were doing my own inner work, like right now I'm actually doing a 30-day intention for $50,000 of unexpected income. $50,000 in 30 days is in my realm of believability. I've done it before. I'm building a house. We've got to order the windows. They're really expensive. And I want to pay cash, right? So I'm doing this 30-day intention experiment. And I'm down to like now I need like 33,085 more dollars to meet my 50,000. And I have put it in my phone. I keep track of it. I focus on it every day. When I go to sleep at night, I say I'm so happy and grateful that I now have $50,000 of unexpected income. I meditate on that. I write it in my gratitude journal. By the way, I'm giving some teaching points here.
Mhm.
Meditation, contemplation, gratitude journal, right? Repeating your affirmation over and over again. I just gave a whole bunch of teaching right there. So $50,000. Oh, Diane, sorry, gotta go. Nice. The other Diane just dropped a note in.
Okay.
So yeah, if $1 billion is out of your realm of believability, so what I generally say to people is feel what is in your realm of believability. For some
Mhm.
people, it's, I mean, I've worked with clients, it was like $500 in 30 days. I've worked with people that it was literally $300,000 in 30 days. Just got to look to see, or over, if it's over a year, you can do obviously a larger amount. If you're
Mhm.
looking at your annual income, I would say do no more than double it. So if you're making 100,000, over the next year, I'm so happy and grateful that I now make $200,000.
Mm.
Bringing in $200,000. So I don't find it useful to do like, these kind of ridiculous, now I'm bringing in $100 million a year when I'm now making 100,000. Like if that,
Yeah.
it's just not in the realm of believability. Therefore, you're not an energetic match for it.
Awesome. Thank you. That's very, very helpful.
Oh, good,
Really
good, good,
helpful.
good. Thanks for the
Thank you.
question. So nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. Really nice to meet you too.
Thank you, Diane. Does anybody else have any questions or comments that they want to share or ask? All right. Thank you, Diane, for your question. It was a really, really great question. And thank you, Jackie, for your well, for all your teachable moments. I was I've been taking so copious notes as we've been talking
Great.
today because I feel not only do I feel what you shared is very helpful, but I'm gonna tell you it's been very helpful for me, for sure. I've learned a lot.
I just want to add one thing to, I just gave a bunch of teaching nuggets in my answer to Diane. One I want to expand on a little bit. I mentioned that I keep a gratitude list. So every morning I sit over in my quiet time chair and I have my cup of coffee and my journal and my meditation. And one of the things I do with my gratitude list that I think would be helpful for people to do is I don't only write what I'm grateful for. And I do a whole journal page every day. So not just 3 or 4 things. I do a whole journal page every day. So I don't just write things that I'm grateful for. I also write down I'm grateful in advance. So right now, as I mentioned, I'm building a house in upstate New York. So one of the things that I write almost every day is I'm so grateful that I have all of the time, talent, money, and resources necessary to build our River Haven. We call our summer home compound, we call it River Haven. And this home here we call Soul Haven. So naming your home. Thank you, Laura. Nice to hear from you. She's dropped a message in the chat. So when you write your gratitude list, also write down what you're grateful in advance for. I'm so grateful that I now have all of the money, time, resources necessary to build our River Haven. So whatever yours is, I'm so grateful in advance that now have this money that I'm drawing to me. And
Yeah.
really feel, don't have it just be an intellectual exercise. Neville Goddard is a wonderful teacher who, back in the early turn of the century, around 1930s, whatever, he was a spiritual teacher, and he wrote a book called Feel It Real. And his whole thing is you have to, use your spiritual power of imagination to see it and the mental exercise. But he says you have to bring in the feeling nature. You have to feel like you're going to feel. So when I do that $50,000 in 30 days intention experiment, I'm going to bring in $50,000 of unexpected income over the next 30 days. I feel the excitement and enthusiasm of when that is complete. I feel the relief that the windows now, for the house can be paid with cash rather than having to, put that on some form of a credit card or take out a loan or whatever. Our goal is to build this house with cash and to have no debt for it. So I just do intention experiment after intention experiment and see what happens.
That's that's incredible. Yes, so feeling it, right? That's really connecting and coming into alignment with that vibration that connects.
It's coming into the alignment with the vibration. Emotion is in fact, emotion is electromagnetic energy of your heart chakra. The emotion is 5,000 times stronger than your thoughts. So
Mhm.
emotion speaks much more strongly than just your thinking world. So you have to bring in the feeling element. And as Neville Goddard says, feel it real.
And I want to make this distinction, the feeling element, not just emotion, because we can identify an emotion, but we have to really embody it. That's the feeling, right?
Yeah.
Because I think, like you said earlier, we oftentimes, mix up the difference between thought and emotion, and it's really
Mm.
about the feeling part. Just
Yeah, so to get into the feeling nature of something, you use your imagination to see that thing now complete. So and I teach this in a lot of my courses. Do just a 2 or 3 minute visualization of what will you do when that thing is now complete. Like, so say when I pay off the windows, or when I pay off everything for the house, how am I going to feel? What am I going to do? And a lot of times it's like, yes, like I'll just have that, like, oh my gosh, or like a high five to my spouse, or like a little dance, doing a little dance because now it's complete, or a fist pump. Oh my gosh, this is so great. Like, actually see in your mind's eye, in your imagination, see yourself doing that and feel yourself feeling that. Make it real in your, what Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of the Unity Spiritual Movement, calls the spiritual power of imagination.
Mhm.
Use your imagination with clarity and purpose and precision to bring these things into your life.
So I have to share with you, I'm going to tell you when I was on my mission to buy my first house, like that's all I wanted to do. And man, I like every day, like I was feeling it so deep. I even brought my son in on it, and we would sit there and we would imagine it.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm sharing this is because I'm totally supporting what you're saying, that it really does work. And one of the things I would ask him is, what are we going to do? The moment that we have it, how are we going to celebrate it? And he was like, we're going to roll all over the floors. Well, beautiful. Let's do that. So we would imagine ourselves having it and rolling all over the floors. So when I bought my first house, we walked in and we rolled on the floor of every single
So
room that
great.
was in there.
Oh, Kelly, that's a great story. That's a
Because
great story.
and it is true, and like it was true, because what was so funny is, like, not funny, but I'm gonna say incredible, was that not only did we feel it before we got it, and then when we did it, I'm getting chills right now just talking about it. It was just so it almost like it really brought the dream to it, like it was the dream come
Exactly.
true
It
part.
is a dream come
So
true. And you created that first on the energetic plane.
Mhm.
You created that first in consciousness, and then it was able to be manifest. That's how everything gets created.
I apologize if you can hear my dogs.
Oh, no, I
I'm
didn't
all,
hear it.
I'm all the FedEx guy drove by, and they love that guy. So so oh yes. So and and it does go back. Like, we had been in alignment with that vibration for many years. And I think what I'm doing is I'm connecting it all together now. And I remember not once did I ever say I can't afford it. I just kept telling myself it's coming. It's
Oh,
coming.
wow. There you go. You're validating what I
Yeah.
taught.
So, thank you. I think I needed to be reminded of that, because I think sometimes once we get something, and I am very guilty of this, we move on to like the next goal or the next
Yeah,
achievement.
sure. That's why we're here.
Yeah, and we forget about that. So,
Yeah,
thank
no, it's
you.
great. And every time you step up to the next level of manifestation, you'll go back to all of the same fears that you had before. They will all resurface again. And you work through them again, and it's easier and it's not as hard, and you do it faster. It's not like I started this house building project with no fear and trepidation. It's just I understand that fear and trepidation is part of the human experience. I say thank you for sharing, and then I go on visualizing and feeling and keeping that high vibe about this being a great experience.
I love it. Oh, I love it so much. I have to tell you, I've really enjoyed our conversation today and everything that you shared. It was so insightful and so helpful. So, like a huge thank you and so much gratitude from my heart. I know that a lot of people are going to benefit from what you've shared today. So, thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. It's really an honor to be here, and congratulations on such a fine series. I mean, you've been doing this a long time, and you've got a lot more coming forth. And I'm just honored to be among such really wonderful, wise teachers, and yourself as well. So congratulations on what you've created.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And I take it all into my heart. So, thank you so much.
Mm.
Um, so you have so kindly have donated the gift to SheRises Foundation to put up for donation, which is really what this, besides having amazing guest speakers like yourself and everyone else, but it really is to help raise money for the SheRises Foundation, which I'm going to tell you, I created back in January. It's seriously from my heart, because I just want to be able to, I just wanted to be able to figure out a way to uplift women and really help them step into, into their feminine leadership. And it is about raising money because I didn't want money to be the reason why they said, I can't do that or I can't be that. So 100% of all the proceeds from everything that you donate goes to the nonprofit to provide scholarships to help maybe pay that little extra money for like education or a course that they're taking or for coaching, whatever it is that they need, or maybe it's a startup for their business. It's really just to help support in any kind of way. So again, you graciously have donated a gift, and your gift is called Money Vibe e-course. Would you like to talk a bit about that so people know what
Oh,
they're receiving when
sure,
they donate?
sure. It's a simple correspondence course around raising your money vibe. You'll get a series of emails from me that are a step-by-step process that help you understand your money vibe and how to raise it.
Oh, I love it. And I'm going to tell you, if it's anything like we did today, I know that it's going to be amazing. So, oh, please, everyone, make sure that you catch that you get your series of emails that really are there to help support you, to help raise your money vibe. I'm so excited. I'm going to tell you, I wrote down so much. I'm like, so much I want to incorporate into my own life. So,
Thank
Jackie,
you.
thank you so much. Like I said,
Yeah.
I know I keep saying that. I really have enjoyed our conversation. I really feel like what you shared today was so helpful. And, and Diane, for your amazing question. I know that your question is, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people have that same question. So,
100%.
yeah. So thank you so much. And before we close, again, can you just I know I'm like I asked you to do it prior in our conversation. Would you share again where people can connect with you?
Sure, I'd love to connect with people and hear from people who saw me today with you. So you can find my website at jackiewoodside.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, Jackie Woodside Speaker on Facebook and Instagram, and just connect with me, Jackie Woodside on LinkedIn. But yeah, I would love to hear from people. And then the film website is yourmoneyvibes.com, where you can sign up to get early information about the release of the film.
Beautiful. And again, everybody, you will find that in her speaker center. This interview and her speaker center is up indefinitely, so you can connect with it and her at any time. Easy access is is what I want to create. So again, Jackie, thank you so much. Please come back. I would
Oh, I'd love
love for
to.
you to come back. And a huge thank you to everyone that joined us today and everyone that will catch the replay. None of this would be possible without all of you and all of your support. So I have so much gratitude and love from my heart to all of yours. And join us again on Friday. We will have another amazing speaker sharing amazing wisdom and insight, just like Jackie did today. And thank you, Jackie. So
Yeah,
much gratitude. Thank
thank
you so
you.
much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.